All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Families Together panel event. An eviction hits home. We are certainly appreciative that you have taken the time out of your day to attend our panel event. We are joined, excuse me, we are joined today by some amazing panelists here. Kim Crawford, who is an executive director of Raleigh Wake Partnership to End and Prevent Homelessness. Kim Crawford has a wealth of experience and expertise in the area of homeless services. She has served for 3 years as program administrator of the NC Emergency Solutions Grant, a program designed to assist with homeless and housing services statewide. Currently, Kim serves as the executive director of the Raleigh Wake Partnership to End and Prevent Homelessness. The partnership is the lead agency in our community's continuum of care for homeless services and the administrator of the coordinated access system for people experiencing homelessness or housing security. We also have joining us is Michelle Munzingo, who is McKinney-Vento District Liaison for Students in Transition, Counseling and Student Services of Wake County Public School System. She has served as the McKinney-Vento District Liaison, excuse me, for the Wake County Public School System for 13 years. The McKinney-Vento program stems from federal legislation and meets the needs of homeless students attending our schools by addressing academic challenges and family issues affecting their success in school. In her capacity, Michelle monitors data related to student homelessness and coordinates social workers across the entire school system. We also have joining us Karen Lassiter, who is the rehousing manager for Families Together, and she has worked with Families Together for 5.5 years in the human services field for over a decade prior to that. She has deep expertise working with landlords and helping families obtain permanent housing. Karen serves as our rehousing manager, coordinating the Families Together team, assisting families in our emergency shelter, bridge housing, rapid rehousing, and other housing programs as well. And last but not least, we have Jasmine Lee, mentor advocate of our rapid rehousing for Families Together. Jasmine Lee has spent many years working in nonprofits serving children and families. She joined Families Together as a case manager for a new COVID response program that helped families to stay safe in motels while working toward housing solutions. She now serves as a mentor advocate, helping families move from homelessness to stable homes. And I am Gwen Jackson, a graduate of Families Together and board member. I have firsthand experience on when eviction hits home, and with the help of Families Together, I have worked hard to overcome homelessness and am now an advocate for those who share the same hardships. Thank you, panelists, for joining and sharing your expertise on issues connected to our theme today, when eviction hits home. All right, so just want to give a few stats to help provide context to our conversation today. On August 26th, the Supreme Court struck down the Center for Disease Control's eviction moratorium. In North Carolina, 35% of residents are renters, and 175,000 of them are behind on their rent. Underlying conditions prior to COVID have caused housing insecurity for many in our community. The hourly wage needed to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Wake County is $23.08. That's a 17% increase in the past 3 years. At the same time, the minimum wage has remained stagnant at $7.25. In this hot rental market, Wake County loses an average of 1,000 affordable units every year. The impact is being felt in our school system, which reported a 104% increase in student homelessness since 2010. When taking into account kids not yet in school, we estimate approximately 6,500 children will not have a stable roof overhead at some point in the coming year. Those are some very sobering statistics, and we're here today because we all share a concern about the compounding impact of the eviction moratorium ending on pre-existing challenges already faced by our community. We have a great panel of experts who represent people and organizations that are working hard every day to address these challenges. Now, we're going to get started. Prior to today, we asked our community members to submit questions for the panel. We'll begin our conversation by covering the common themes for those questions. And if you'd like to submit a question, please feel free to use the Q&A function located in your Zoom toolbar at the bottom of your screen. We will get to as many of your questions as we possibly can today. All right, so I want to begin by asking each of our panelists here the same question. So the first question is going to be, given the challenges just reviewed and your unique role in the community, what are your priorities now that the eviction moratorium has ended? Where are you focusing your energy? All right, we will start with Kim on this question.
Thank you, Gwen. I think the partnership's role is at a system level. So we are not just a single organization, one single homeless service provider. So we are looking at the impact on our entire system of care. When we look at our system of care, and certainly, Gwen, the numbers that you brought up are staggering, and it's not slowing down, and it is not stopping. What's happening is that people are being affected, and they are losing their homes, and they're coming into the homeless crisis response system, and there's no place to go. There's no place to go. So our focus and currently our homeless continuum of care has already identified what our investment priorities are for the upcoming year. And those are housing, housing, and housing. Really, at the end of the day, the only thing that literally ends homelessness is an address. So our goal right now, and our word out to all funders, all landlords, property owners, homeless service providers, you name it, is affordable housing, permanent supportive housing, and units available for our rapid rehousing programs. When we talk about affordable housing, we also need those units to be accessible affordable housing. So let's look at what really determines the success of a tenant. Is it really that criminal record, that offense that happened 12 years ago? Is it really the poor credit from 8 years ago? Is it really the eviction history that they have, given the totality of their life? So let's really relax some of those criteria and look at what it really takes to be a successful tenant. So it's relaxing the criteria, and maybe not relaxing it, but let's level set it and make it more appropriate. And let's get more affordable housing. Let's get more permanent supportive housing. And let's get more addresses for our rapid rehousing providers.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kim. All right, same question for you, Michelle. Where are you focusing your energy right now, as we're experiencing?
Sure. So within Wake County Public Schools, the McKinney-Vento program, which is in all public schools and charter schools in the U.S., so we're everywhere. But our purpose is to protect the education of students who've lost housing. So we want to make sure that displaced children and youth stay school stable, because research has shown that students who are school stable have more success academically, socially, emotionally, and physically. So our current focus is working to find students who have been displaced so that we can keep them in their current school.
That is awesome. Going through my own personal experience, McKinney-Vento was absolutely a lifesaver for us. So I really appreciate that program and all that they're doing for children who have been displaced. So same question over to you. Let's go with Karen. Where are you focusing your energy at this time?
Okay. So for With Families Together, we are focusing most definitely on housing our families that are in pre-housing. The case managers are working diligently searching for voucher properties, as well as affordable properties for our families. And also our stabilization mental advocates are working diligently with our families that are housed to make sure that they are able to sustain their housing. So as we are moving forward with this eviction moratorium ending, we are working to make sure the families that are coming in are finding houses and the families that we have now remain housed.
That is awesome. I love what I'm hearing. And last but not least, Jasmine, if you'll tell us, where are you focusing your energy at this time?
So at this time, what I'm focusing a lot on is addressing the current barriers that clients will have. So my current clients, as well as clients that will be coming because of the moratorium ending. So some of those things that Kim mentioned earlier, so the criminal record, the credit history, if they have previous evictions, looking at those barriers and identifying which things we need to address first. And also looking in the community to find those different property managers that might work with you if you do have a criminal background, or if your credit is not the best and they don't necessarily look for a certain number. So definitely identifying and letting clients know that these things are barriers, because some people don't know that they are considered barriers and that these things will follow them when they look for other properties in the future, and then trying our best to connect with the community to see what resources we can provide them to overcome those barriers.
All right. Thank you all so much for your thorough answers on what you're working on right now to combat this. Kim, we're going to move over to you with the next question here. So why do I hear that so many of the eviction prevention dollars have gone unspent or unclaimed? What is the reason for this?
Well, there's a lot of factors with this, and certainly, and I don't know if I can claim to know all of the answers to that. One is not everybody even knows that these dollars are available. We have to get the word out that it is available. One, I'm constantly out in the community, and I'm surprised that I still hear that people are not aware that these dollars are even there. There's no surprise that it is hard to get through, right? Phone number. There are a lot of people trying to access these dollars. It is a program that does require a lot of paperwork. One could argue, do we really need that much paperwork? We're dealing with people that are in crisis, and they're in a bit of a stressful situation, and now I got to go find a bank statement. Now I got to go find, and that's just adding undue stress. I mean, we can certainly sit and listen to, well, there's this many people that have been denied because they couldn't find the paperwork. Okay, at this point, we need to get past that. Fortunately, the federal government did get past that and said that now people can self-attest to a lot of the requirements for these eviction prevention dollars to get out. I think that will help move the money quicker. So if you're on this panel or you know someone who's been trying and they can't find the paperwork, give it another shot, because you can self-attest. Yes, this happened to me. Yes, I had this. I don't have it now. And frankly, the system is overwhelmed. And were we prepared for it? I think we thought we were prepared for it, but we're not. We're not. There are a lot of people who need help, a lot. And what we're doing, because we as organizations, including the partnership, believe that we're right staffed from a capacity standpoint, and honestly, we're not. Because people are still calling to find out, and they're calling again to find out because they're not hearing. And I'm telling you, if I'm in a crisis situation and I'm going to be booted in 3 weeks, I want to talk to someone yesterday. And what's happening is we're not talking to them yesterday, we're not talking to them today, and we're not talking to them tomorrow. So what's happening is, see, Jasmine, I know you're on this, right? And so what happens is we're trying to use the dollars from the eviction prevention. The dollars aren't going out. Why? Because it's taken so long for them to get to me that now I'm being evicted. right, Karen? So now it's a whole different pot of money and a whole different set of circumstances. So we have to get ahead of the curve. I know that Wake County and Telamon are doing their very best to get ahead of the curve. But what happens is it backs some people up. And so we have the dollars, and that's the frustrating thing. We have the money, we are not where we need to be from a system standpoint to handle the volume. We're not. And so
thank you, Kim, for opening our eyes on that. I'm going to jump in for Gwen here for a moment. Our next question has to do with government agencies and nonprofits that are finding themselves in this reactive mode when addressing homelessness. What can local, state, and federal governmental organizations, along with nonprofits like Families Together, do to create an environment where homelessness is rare and short-lived?
Okay, I think we need to back up and remember that government in the last year in our community alone has put for the homeless crisis response system nearly $20 million into the system. So dollars have come. We happen to live in a market where the economic growth is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. What do we need to do where homelessness is rare and short-lived? We can get people into the system. We can't get them out. We have to have addresses. Homelessness is ended with an address. We need addresses. And we all need to work on that. Our governments are working on that. City of Raleigh just bought a hotel. Wake County is coming up with another program to be ready when another unit comes up for sale. They are constantly pushing forward with the building of affordable housing. Those are all fine, and that's great. And we have to get those units up front to level set, but we need something to happen right now. And it can't just be government now. It has to be us all. And it needs to be the private sector. Our private sector and our properties, our property owners, they need to step in. They need to help.
My apologies as I dropped out here. Okay, so where did we leave off? What was the last question here?
Number 4.
Okay, all right. So moving on, Kim, we're steady on you. What can cities do specifically to prevent or reduce evictions?
I think we need to track what's going on in our communities. I think that there are different, we need to be more creative and innovative in how we are tracking and what constitutes legitimate evictions. I think our cities can step in. Let's keep track of where the evictions are. Is there a process that, is there an intermediary process? If we have one, and maybe it's the city, maybe it's not, to have one database that if there is evictions happening, and who are those properties? Maybe it's one property that's doing all of the evictions. Maybe it's one property owner. We need to gather data to find out where the evictions are happening, what communities they're happening in. Are they mom and pop landlords that are doing the evictions, or are they our larger conglomerate properties? Who's doing them? And then let's step in and see what we can do to help out, get in the middle of that and move people. If we can't prevent the eviction, my goodness, can we at least work out something where they don't get the eviction on their record? What other things can we do? Especially now, we have the funding in place. So let's see what we can do to be creative and innovative and talk with these property owners. They don't want to evict people either. I mean, the majority of the people, the property owners that are evicting, they're trying to make a living too. But let's not negatively impact so many lives on the tail end.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to kick this question over to Jasmine and Karen. How do organizations like Families Together play a role in this crisis? We can have Karen go first and then Jasmine.
All right, so for Families Together, we know that we are a very critical link in the homeless families right here in Wake County. So the role that we play that is, first, we're providing shelter, short-term shelter space. Also, we have our Master Lease Bridge program, and that is where we're working with the school system. So we're working with Kim in partnership with the Rapid Rehousing and also with the school system. With Rapid Rehousing, the shelters there, we're working, locating properties for the families. We're applying for vouchers. So we're out there searching, as Jasmine had mentioned earlier, with the barriers that our families have, but also cultivating those relationships with property owners, with our partnering agencies as well, and then taking in consideration everything that that family comes in with. So we have a team of mentor advocates in our fee team, our financial team, that is working to increase their income, to make it where they're able to get out there and get back on their feet. But at the same time, we're building on a housing plan. How do you get up and move from here so that in the midst of this crisis, it doesn't crush them where they're not able to move forward?
Absolutely. Jasmine, anything to add to how do organizations like Families Together play a role?
Yeah, just a few things. Karen did an excellent job as always. So we're also providing them with some support and resources to be able to not be in this situation again. So I love that we have the stabilization side of our agency that's able to continue that case management after a client is housed, to make sure that they stay stable and that they stay in that home and hopefully continue to be a renter or to have a home to go to. And so some of the things that we also provide are webinars. We used to do them in person workshops, but money matter webinars, housing matter. So different tips and tricks on how to make sure that they are staying in contact with their landlords, all the different things that, you know, you might think that someone would know to do, but it's not always second nature. Being able to use your to pay for your rent online and not having to go to the office, you know, each month, and making sure that, you know, you're cleaning up day by day or a little bit at a time so that that doesn't get overwhelming at a certain point in time. And also connecting them with outside resources. And so we partner with Green Chair a lot to help our families to get home, to have furniture when they're housed, and making sure that they know that there are other agencies that they can tap into. So like Crandon and Note in the Pocket, to be able to have those clothing referrals when they need them, or access to technology. So helping them to understand that, you know, housing is a little more than just getting a key. Making sure that you are able to stay in that house, to make sure that you have it as your own, that you use it, you know, in the way that it's supposed to, so that there's no issues with the landlords. And then also being able to create that culture around having some pride in what you have and knowing exactly how to use it, but not being afraid to look out to other resources that we connect them with and in the community to help them out. Because a lot of people that don't know about the other organizations and agencies that are in the community, and if you don't know, you can't get the help. So being able to connect them and be that bridge that they need as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jasmine. And I'm toggling here between two devices in this remote world that we're in. So thank you for bearing with me. So that is nice to hear things, and that Together is doing this time. Karen, can you tell us anything about how many families are coming to Families Together that have evictions? Is this percentage increasing?
Oh, that's a good question, Gwen. Actually, presently, right now, we have 45 families on our pre-housing side. And out of those 45, we have 8 with evictions, which is a little low as comparison of the past, but we know that that will increase with the moratorium lifting. So that percentage in the past has been about 20 to 30% of our pre-housing families.
All right. Well, we know that that number is going to go up, unfortunately. So we're grateful for organizations like Families Together that is helping to combat that. Michelle, we're going to kick it over to you really quick. Can you tell us how eviction and homelessness affects our students in Wake County?
Absolutely. So the loss of housing is a stressful and traumatic event. And so we are able to help combat some of the stress and anxiety by keeping students at the same school with their peers where they feel safe and secure. We provide transportation, free meals, immediate enrollment without the need for all the paperwork Kim was mentioning earlier, and then access to preschool and other services. And so by providing these services, the student can feel a sense of security during the day, and the parent or caregiver can have some peace of mind, freeing them up to focus on other things.
That is awesome. All right. Do we have any Q&A questions out there? I can't see it at this time. You also just wanted to check in. Do we have any Q&As?
We do have a question regarding the Raleigh City Council. They've been focused on getting new housing built, but are not taking advantage of the inclusionary zoning regulations that would mandate that developers include affordable housing in their new apartment and condo buildings and subdivisions. What is something that we can do to pressure the city to put more resources into affordable housing? I know this is more of a question regarding advocacy. Perhaps Kim or Jasmine or Karen could chime in on that.
Kim or Jasmine?
Oh, yes. Yes. I think that there's a lot of opposition to inclusionary housing. So I think that what we need to do now is learn as much as we can about that, because we need to be able to go back to our city councils, not just Raleigh, but all of our local municipalities, and have conversations about what affordable housing looks like in each of their communities, and what we can do and what that will look like. So, and really, yeah, we have to educate ourselves on that, because there's many components of that that are simply not supported right now at all. And so we need more people to go back to our municipalities stating the contrary. It is straight up about that advocacy and getting more and more people in front of them and talking to them about what that looks like, what that really means.
Right. And I think having more conversations like these and actual, town hall, maybe group conversations, to have a little more clear understanding of what homelessness looks like. I think a lot of people, they think, oh, folks that you see waiting for food or on the side of the street on the corner. But that's not the case. A homeless family could be family that you're behind in the grocery store because they're staying in a hotel. A homeless family could be the family that you go to church with, but they are just sleeping in their car in the Walmart's parking lot and have just lost their home 2 days ago. So I think, we don't have enough conversations of what homelessness looks like. And then we don't allow ourselves to have those conversations, to have those grandiose ideas that, to try different things, because, we never thought that it might be able to happen, and opening up our deals and like you said, Kim, to be able to look like what it would seem for us to live amongst one another, and to try some new things. I think we're just used to things working and doing the way that we have before, and we're noticing that those things won't continue to work anymore. So just trying some new things out and continuing to talk about the conversation, because it needs to be.
Absolutely. So great question from our audience. And thank you so much for posing that question. while our communities can do a lot in order to combat this, individuals can be just as mighty as the community, because after all, a community is made up of individuals. So my question to all of our panelists is, what can individuals do in the community to help with this problem? And I'll start with Kim on this.
We need to start talking. And I mean, we're in a unique position right now. We have the dollars, we don't have the units. We need to go to our congregations and say, hey, pastor, you need to be standing up there saying, who's a landlord? Who owns property? Because I can promise you, there's people out there that own property that want to help us. We need to go to all of our PTAs, all of our Rotary meetings, Kiwanis meetings, you know, pickleball groups, and have that conversation, because the units are there. We just don't know where they are. And really, I firmly believe that there are more people of goodwill in our community that want to help. They just don't know how. They just don't know how. And this is a simple, easy way to do it. I don't know a whole lot of landlords, but I am part of some organizations. It is about who you know, who knows someone who knows someone. And if we don't start talking about this on a grassroots level, we can't expect to buy our way out of this. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think it's a shame that we have so much emergency solutions COVID money that we could potentially be giving back, because we can't find the addresses. We're not going to build it all in time. So we have to start talking.
Absolutely. Wow, that's awesome. Before we move on to our last couple of questions, Karen, can you chime in on this as well? What can individuals do to help in this crisis?
Kim has covered a lot of things there. Now, I want to take it to a more individual level as far as their in-kinds. Simply being that we have a lot of families, for example, I'll just use one family where we were able after many months of searching to get them a voucher unit, but it's outside of the Raleigh area. And the mother, the husband, and one child, they are all going through major medical problems. The mother and the son are on chemo, but they don't have any transportation. So that is a plea for those who have automobiles to donate to those agencies like Families Together or others, so that this family will be able to get back and forth to appointments, because depending on other resources, transportation has not been very reliable. Also, you can volunteer your services. You know, if you have certain trades, we need them. Partnering organizations, we need those trades. Computers, we need those for the kids. Your financial gifts, we need those for the organizations as well. And as Kim has already hit on it, we need your properties. We need them. We all need to be that voice in the community, sharing that homelessness affects everyone, not just the person that doesn't have a roof over their head, but it can affect your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers. So we're all affected by this pandemic of homelessness.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your feedback on that question. Michelle, question for you. Is the number of or percentage of students whose families have been evicted increasing? And what trends are you seeing as they relate to Wake student homelessness?
Sure, yes. So the number of students experiencing a loss of housing continue to increase. And we're expecting the numbers, of course, to increase even more this year because of the expected evictions. The majority of our families who are currently in transition, they are citing that eviction, landlords selling off properties, or landlords increasing rent, and COVID-related losses as the reason for the loss of housing. So we're seeing an uptick in that as those particular reasons. And then we're also seeing more families in cars, parks, storage units, and other unsheltered spaces this year more than ever.
All right. Wow. Big help in the area of children with this situation here. All right, so Karen, this question is for you. So how does increasing access to affordable housing play a role in mitigating the number of evictions in Wake County? And from your perspective, what makes housing affordable for the families you work most closely with? And are they working families? And if so, what is their average income? So I know, loaded question there. So first one is, how does increasing access to affordable housing play a role in mitigating the number of evictions in Wake County?
Okay. More affordable housing means less strain on the homeless prevention and emergency systems that are currently available to our community. And it also offers more stability and residential mobility.
All right. And so the second part of that question was, from your perspective, what makes housing affordable for the families you work with?
That is a good question. As we are acquiring affordable units that we will be using for that with families together, and really digging into the resources and the budgeting of our families, we're finding that what may be affordable to some families is not necessarily affordable to others. So for the most part, it is your ability to pay all of your bills and still have some money left over, bottom line. And it is, we understand that affordability is the root cause of homelessness. And I get a little emotional on that because of the families that we work with who really have a heart's desire to have their own place, but because they have limited resources, it's difficult when we're putting in these applications and they're told their income isn't high enough. And so understanding when we're even applying for units and they want them to make 3 times the rent, and you ask what is the average income, well, for most of our families, it's between $1,600 and $1,800 a month. So when you divide that by 3 times, making 3 times the rent, they're only able to afford like maybe $600, $700 a month in rent on paper. So as far as applying for units, they will be denied based on income. But when you're talking about affordable, let's say that you are earning 50 to 80% AMI, that becomes affordable to some of our families. Being that my family, they're able to live in a nice neighborhood, and we can pay the rent of $600 and still have rent for childcare expenses, to pay, buy groceries, transportation, all of those things. And it puts our families more on a level plane concerning affordable housing. As the first video showed, the screen that talked about the minimum income for a 2-bedroom unit was $23.08 an hour. And our families are making between $10 and $12 an hour. So that right there is an area where we are, as families together, we're working with the units that we have purchased to make it affordable to families, to help them to get back on their feet and to let them know that there is a way out. There's an opportunity for them to be able to thrive in this environment, housing environment that we're in right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, panelists, for this enlightening conversation. You all
All right, Gwen, and we are back.
All right, so the emergency shelter expansion. We have exciting plans to expand our emergency family shelter by increasing our capacity from 6 to 10 private apartments. These units are very important to our community because they make it possible for families at risk of being separated in a traditional shelter to remain together until permanent housing is obtained. We also have the Cottage Court development. We continue to move forward with plans to build Cottage Court homes on land that Families Together owns in East Raleigh. This will be our first housing development project, and our goal is to break ground next year. We have early stage design ideas from our project team, and our next step is to hold stakeholder planning sessions later this month to create a shared community vision for the Cottage Court development. We also have our financial empowerment and employment. Last year, we expanded our financial health programming to include job search and preparation support to help families increase earnings. This year, we're rolling out the program with a team of 3 professionals who offer one-on-one credit counseling, budgeting support, job connections, resume writing, and a curriculum of workshops. And then we have our affordable housing initiative. Last year, Families Together purchased and completed the renovation of a duplex in East Raleigh, now home to 2 families that transitioned from homelessness. And this year, we expanded our affordable housing portfolio to 21 units with the purchase of a duplex and triplex in West Raleigh. The properties are located side by side and will be used for transitional housing. Just a few days ago, Spectrum News aired a story about this exciting project, and I'd like to take 90 seconds to show it to you now. Thank you.
Lisa Rowe and Daniel Coleman work for Families Together, the largest nonprofit dedicated to housing homeless families in Wake County.
We have 21 units in our portfolio. That includes master lease apartments, properties that we own that are for permanent rental housing, and our transitional program.
They also have a shelter. This home will be part of their transitional program to get families back on their feet.
Just giving people new opportunity to be in the home.
But first, there's a lot to do.
After the carpets and floors, we're gonna get the roofs and decks situated, lining up our contractors.
According to Families Together, in Wake County, only 2% of nearly 500,000 rental units are considered affordable.
The rental housing market is bad, it's tight, and the prices just keep going up.
The average renter in North Carolina makes $16.37 an hour. But in Wake County, the average hourly wage to afford a 1-bedroom rental is $20.25. If you have a family and need a 2- or 3-bedroom, it jumps much higher. So Rowe and her team are trying to ease the burden. The property next door will house 3 families. Repairs are already underway and trees have been cleared.
Our idea is to smooth it out, clean it out, and then spread the mulch. So we'll have a better backyard that can be used, and eventually, we want something that the kids can play in.
While a lot has to be done to fix the affordable housing crisis, Rowe and Coleman say they are just thankful to help in any way they can.
So what you've just seen is a great visual of what these properties are like and the future promise that they hold. Once we complete the renovation, they will become a bridge home for 5 families with children transitioning from homelessness. So you may be wondering, how can you help? I want to wrap up with an announcement of an exciting opportunity. 1 week from on Tuesday, October 19th, Families Together will hold a triple impact match day. Several donors have joined together to pledge a challenge match fund of $25,000 that will triple the impact of your donations on that day only. Again, that's Tuesday, October 19th. So what does that mean in tangible terms? Here are some examples of the increased impact you can make. A donation of $50 with matching fund triples to $150 and can provide lighting for a renovated bathroom. $250 triples to $750 and can provide 23 hours of specialized support from our new financial empowerment and employment team to help families improve their financial stability. $500 triples to $1,500 and can provide carpeting in one of the units in our newly purchased duplex and triplex. So the opportunity is there to make your donations go further and have a much greater impact. So save the date, 1 week from today, Tuesday, October 19th. Donations will help complete the transitional housing renovations and deliver the services necessary to provide a bridge to home. Thank you once again, panelists, for joining us. Thank you for everyone that has attended. Thank you for supporting this life-changing work. It would not be possible without you. Feel free to get in contact with us if you have any additional questions or feedback. And a final reminder, October 19th, Bridge to Home Triple Impact Match Day. Thank you.